Now this speaker is the reason why we're all here. This is the creator, the mastermind, the founder of Onecoin. Let's give a warm applause for our creator, our founder, Dr. Ruja, my sister these days.
On June 11, 2016, Dr. Ruja Ignatova strode onto the stage at Wembley Arena. She must have been at the top of the world. She was the founder of Onecoin, and she was very pleased because investors over 175 countries had poured over 4 billion euros into her currency Onecoin, including at least £100 million from the UK, many from Muslim and ethnic minority communities.
Nobody can compare to us. We have today the most users, we are the biggest crypto reserve currency out there, and we are the most transparent one. So we will not only be the choice for the merchants, but also the choice of the regulators, the governments, and whoever is out there. In 2 years, nobody will speak about Bitcoin anymore. And I thank you very much for being here, sharing my vision, and just making this happen. Thank you very much.
But in 2017, Ignatova disappeared without a trace, and shortly afterwards she was charged by the US authorities for wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. And since 2017, she has been on the run from the authorities and law enforcement, including the FBI. So what went wrong? Well, it transpired that Onecoin was in fact a classic scam. There was no real cryptocurrency, there was no coins that could be traded publicly, and in fact, there were suggestions that there were criminal underworld elements involved as well. But why am I talking about it now? Because the reason why Onecoin was so successful was because of a nefarious business practice known as multi-layer marketing, or MLM for short. And while Onecoin is dead, taking with it billions of ordinary people's savings, MLM lives on and continues to destroy the lives of many. Muslims are particularly susceptible to these schemes, as are ethnic minority communities, because these schemes rely on close family ties and extended families. Check out the success stories on the ACN website, which is a prominent MLM scheme. A surprising amount seem to be from Muslim and ethnic minority backgrounds. What I want to do in this video is talk to you about MLM, what it is, how you can call foul on it, and how to make sure you don't go near one with a barge pole. I'll also give you some real-life alternatives that you can do from home, that you can use to make money, but without having any exploitation involved, and that is actually halal and permissible from an Islamic perspective as well. And don't worry, I'm not going to be selling you anything. The idea behind MLM is very similar to a pyramid scheme, which is illegal, but there is a subtle difference. A pyramid scheme is where nothing of actual value is being bought or sold. And each time new entrants come in, their entry money is being used to pay a tiny amount to those above them, and then most of it goes to those directly at the top of the pyramid. Onecoin is such a scheme and burned many.
Layla got interested in cryptocurrency after a trusted friend and Onecoin salesman asked her along to one of the meetings. It encouraged people to sign up to a scheme to help spread the word about the Onecoin cryptocurrency.
An MLM scheme is slightly different in that something is actually being sold. There is a product involved. The idea is that if you sell a product to someone on behalf of a company, you'll get a commission for it on an ongoing basis. But that commission is tiny. So for example, if you built up a customer base of 100, you still only be earning around $80.
Now you're at 120 partners, approximate, if everyone found 3, who found 3, okay? $96,000, so you're almost at $100,000 in sales, and because you get a little bit more of a percentage, we're gonna factor that in, and you're now left with about $282. Now, listen, I don't even know if I have to continue on from this point, okay? Just think about that.
But just like a pyramid scheme, MLM highly incentivizes its participants to recruit more people in. The focus is not really on the product at all. Now, to work out what a business actually cares about, just look at their homepage and what they're pointing you in the first instance. Now, I run my own website, IslamicFinanceGuru.com, and if you arrive on our homepage, the first thing that I would want you to click on is the halal investment page, and that is up and center right in the top. Now, let's see what ACN does on the other hand. It takes you through and immediately it gets you to sign up for a £500 package just to get you started. There is no product in sight. Look at how the senior individual from ACN describes the most important priorities in a person's first stage with ACN.
The greatest example is that example. You want to focus in on phase one leadership, and there's things that you need to do in phase one leadership. Introducing new people to the opportunity. I love introducing new people to the opportunity. I don't know, how many of you have ever been nervous about introducing somebody to ACN? Raise your hands, be honest.
3 of the 4 big priorities for a new entrant into this ACN scheme is to get more people to join the ACN scheme. The product is just 1 out of the 4 different priorities. Why do ACN do that? That's because that's where the real money is. When someone is recruited, they're going to pay about £500 out, or in other schemes, up to tens of thousands of pounds to join the scheme. And when they're in, they're going to have to recoup all that money that they've spent. So they go out and recruit like crazy to try and keep their head over the water. And that's how the whole thing spirals, because the next person comes in, they need to go on a recruitment scheme just to make sure that they break even. And that way, entire communities sink underwater. So there's kind of a spectrum here between a pyramid scheme, an MLM scheme, and an authentic, trusted business. On the one hand, you have Onecoin and onelife, which was a full-on Ponzi scheme pyramid and illegal. Then you have MLM schemes, which are legal, such as ACN, but they're not really about the product as much, and there's much more about recruiting other people. Then you've got slightly more respectable, but only barely so, MLM schemes, such as Herbalife or Avon, which are a bit more about the product, but the product is a bit naff, and there is still that recruitment element in there as well. But at least if you go on the Avon website, for example, you can actually buy a product. Always good to see a product being sold by a product company. Let's draw a line here. On the one side of the line, you have many normal, reputable businesses. So for example, some apps or companies offer you cashback bonuses if you send a customer their way who signs up with them. For example, you might get a £10 discount on an app if you refer it to a friend and they also sign up. That's all fine. So what's the way to tell the difference between a legit business and one that is an MLM scheme or a pyramid scheme? If you are getting paid far more money for getting other people into the scheme rather than selling a product, that is a red flag. When you first get introduced to this company, if the whole focal point of a conversation is getting recruited into the company rather than selling the products, that is a red flag. If you do a quick Google search and you can't easily buy the products that this company is purporting to sell, that is a massive red flag. Because a product company, especially a company that wants to sell to the retail market, will want to make it easy for you to buy that product. They're not going to hide it away. Similarly, if a company is telling you that you can only sell their products to family and friends, that's a big red flag. That's telling you that you are going to have a ceiling because you only have so many family and friends, right? And it also tells you that they're not interested in really selling the product. They're interested in recruiting your family and friends. That's what they're really after. If the company is running a whole bunch of events that are very glamorous, there's lots of music, you have to dress in a suit, and there's glitz and all sorts of really pretty, attractive women there and men there, and cars that are really expensive, and then all the people there seem to be really excited, I'd just be really wary. I'd be even more wary when the people going on the stage start talking about hopes and aspirations and how they were down in the dumps one time and now look at them and how they're on the stage and everything is, perfect. I'd just be really wary. MLM schemes rely on the network. They make their money by getting the next vulnerable person to pay £500 and join up. That's why their marketing is hard and ferocious to try and get you into that network. You might think you're clever and you know what you're doing, But this game isn't about rationale. It isn't about intellect. It's about emotions, pure emotions. Clever people can be duped by emotions too.
And I know that you yourself will never be the same you before this weekend. You will change after this weekend. I know this is going to happen. I saw an individual who was 20 years old speaking on stage, and he was so confident. And I was thinking myself, I was 25 years old, and I was thinking myself, wow, it was painful. It was painful. Every day it was painful. The thing about success, ladies and gentlemen, is that you don't know how long you have to pay the price.
That's how they get you to convert, because they don't have a financially sound argument. They don't appeal to economics or rationale or intellect. It's all about emotions. That's the whole pitch from start to finish. And by the way, this dude in the video, well, he was apparently one of the biggest pushers of Onecoin before his new gig called Melius, which is also not Sharia compliant and is an MLM scheme. And news reports suggested that he made a killing from doing Onecoin. So this sob story about how Melius got him started, heaven only knows how that works. So protect yourself. Don't take the call. Don't go to the event. Just resist that sale. They'll tell you that people have become rich using MLM, and they definitely have, but it's a tiny, tiny minority. But they get rich using exploitation of others. They get rich because every time a new layer of people is recruited, they pay in that £500 and then they pay in monthly that extra £100 or £200 to buy the products and the services that they then need to sell on. So this is a way of getting rich that relies on exploitation, unfortunately, of many vulnerable people. Many people who are unemployed, who have life savings that are very, very small, and they put all of these life savings into them. I know personally stories of people who've had to throw away thousands and thousands of pounds of product that they had bought because they wanted to maintain their level on a particular MLM scheme. That is not the way I want to get rich, and that is not the way I would expect most people watching this would want to get rich either. When it comes to the Sharia, there are two things. The first is a pure letter of the law, and the other is the spirit of the law. The letter of the law says that pure Ponzi schemes are haram, they're illegal because they're a massive fraud. They take advantage of people.
There is no real product that people in different levels are marketing. There is a product or a software or a product that is not equal, or its price, its real price and its real benefit for people is not proportional to the price.
But the letter of the law doesn't necessarily say things like ACN or Herbalife or Avon or aloe vera are necessarily haram. They're certainly not illegal. So how does Islam say that we should approach MLM and schemes of this sort? Sheikh Abu Isa has a fantastic Facebook post where he discussed this. He said, I hold ACN schemes and those like it to be makruh at the very least, and more likely haram. This is because Allah Jalla wa Ala says, O you who believe, do not consume each other's wealth wrongfully. And this is in Surah 4, verse 29. He also gave some great advice. He said, if you see me as your teacher, I'll tell you that this is not the kind of occupation I expect from my intelligent and savvy students. But if you see me as your brother only, I tell you that this is a kind of business activity that is against the sunnah of the Prophet and against the spirit of Islam, where we are just wanting people to sign up and pay a broker or license or signing up fee so that we can benefit too, as well as the other flaws in the scheme. Even if you make a quick buck, for you will lose out in the end when the regulators eventually step in. And then he also says, if you see me as neither, then see me as your experienced elder who has been working for over 20 years in a variety of different roles and positions and is telling you sincerely that this is a scam, and you will look back one day and say to yourself, why did I get involved? I've been there years ago and seen the dreams and the hype at their conferences. It's all fake. What all this research has shown us is that MLM is a really, really bad idea. Commercially, it's going to burn you, you're not going to make any money. and Islamically, it's most likely makruh, if not haram. Please avoid, avoid, avoid. Our research has shown that Muslims are about 20% poorer than the rest of the world, and about half of the Muslims in the UK live in the 10% poorest constituencies in the UK. We just cannot afford to be handing over £100 million to scammers. Your wealth is more precious than that. We need that money to be using it efficiently and strategically to be building our community out. We can't be giving it over to fraudsters. Please, please protect your wealth. But you still want to invest your money, right? You still want to escape the rat race. You still want to retire. What should you do then? If you need to invest, well, there's a whole bunch of regulated, reputable investments out there. And you can go on websites like Money Saving Expert or Go Compare or a whole range of other large, reputable websites where you can find this stuff. And if you want to go for the halal options, then you've got our website as well, where we list out these options. But I suppose the like-for-like comparison with an MLM scheme is a small business that you can do from the comfort of your own home. I have 3 such ideas that you can start today that are reputable and actually work. You can sell stuff on Amazon. My family members have been involved in this area for a number of years now and are selling in the hundreds of thousands of pounds now. They're stay-at-home moms as well. It's hard work and there have been failures, but guess what? It's real. It's not a scam. No one will get hurt if you make a profit. You could buy a small business. This is a little known technique, but small businesses online go for 2 to 4 times their annual revenue. That is super cheap, and you have a running business that is making money now. You don't have to build it up. It will be hard work still, don't be confused about that. But guess what? It's real. It's not a scam. No one will get hurt if you make a profit. And in time, this small business could potentially become a large business as well. And I know people, Mohsin, my co-founder, and his family have done this and have done this successfully. Start an online business. Learn things like coding, web design, graphic design, social media marketing. Learn it well and properly. You can learn it for free sat at home these days. There's a ton of resources online. And then you can earn a living by applying those skills as well. I've hired a number of people as part of my business, coders and designers, and they cost a lot of money. And there is such a strong demand for this stuff right now. I know I'm a business owner and I use these people and I pay them top dollar for it. There's an absolutely huge and thriving market out there. Just put a bit of graft in and you'll be really well set. So as we've just seen, there are real alternatives to MLM and schemes like it. They're reputable, they scale better, they're not dodgy, no one gets hurt when you're making a profit, they're Islamically acceptable as well, none of your family members are going to resent you approaching them for it. If you are thinking about joining an MLM scheme, please don't and just do one of these 3 things instead. Finally, if you've liked this video, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification as well. I know every YouTuber is asking you to do that these days, but it really does help because these videos take an absolute age to research and shoot and produce. So please do support as much as you can. It really helps us. And if you've come across MLM schemes or been affected yourself directly, I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below.